Hey, okay, we got a few people coming in. Linda Marie, hi. Can you hear me? Can you put in the chat if you can hear me or not? Okay. Oh, hello, Barbara. You can hear me then. Okay, great. It's actually supposed to start at 6, so I'll give you guys both a gold star for being here early. So we'll just wait a minute or two until we're ready to start. Okay, great. Loud and clear. Love it. Love it. Can you see me okay? Joseph. Okay, great. Great. So, you guys who are here early, I have to tell you that you are sworn to secrecy. You're not allowed to tell people that I have to wear cheater glasses to read the comments. Not that I'm getting old or anything, mind you. So, you guys who are here, do we have any farmers? Is anyone in this group a farmer? Just put farmer in the chat if you're a farmer. Okay, thanks, Barbara. Can the rest I don't know how this works. This is the first time I ever did a live on YouTube. Can everybody see the chat? Or can I just see the chat? Can everybody see the chat? Okay. Yeah, I figured that's how it would work, that everybody could read it. That's cool. I want to see if there's a delay to this thing because it seems like some of the comments are coming in slowly. So be ready to type. What can I ask you? When I say go, just type in the word go. I want to see how fast it comes up. So here we go. On three, 1, 2, 3, go. Joseph. Okay, that wasn't too bad. All right. It seemed like maybe there was getting to be a little okay, Lisa. Thank you. Seemed like maybe there was a little bit of a delay, but that's fine. If you all can hear me and everything is good. So it's just after 6. So I guess we'll get started. So the reason I wanted to do a live, if you read my thing, is because the whole what is now called Cadillac Karen, that whole story has just blown up and going crazy and going unbelievably viral. And with that has come a lot of a lot of great comments, and I've had some great interaction with folks on different social media platforms, but especially here on YouTube. But also along with it came a lot of I guess you would call it hate. So so I made a little jingle, and it goes, I have a lot in common with Taylor. We're both good looking, and we both got haters. So yeah, so along with a lot of those comments were pretty hateful and whatnot. And for a couple of reasons. One thing, one of the videos shows the cop pulling me over and giving me a ticket for hitting the Escalade with the manure. And a lot of people really made some ugly comments about the police and everything. Some of them were lighthearted, and that was fine, but some of them were pretty ugly. Like along the lines of, calling the cops, calling that cop names, and saying just nasty things about the police. And I certainly never intended for that. Then along with the other stuff was, a lot of comments of people asking me if it was real or staged or whatever. And for some reason, it went down this whole rabbit hole of people, accusing me of not being a farmer, and that the whole thing was some kind of big studio production, and this guy isn't even a farmer, and um, a whole ton of comments of people who believe it was my wife in the Escalade, which that one really cracks me up, because I've said a million times in comments, I call myself the Bachelor Farmer, and I've said a million times in comments that I am a lifelong and very committed bachelor farmer. So there is no wife in my life. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but it is a fact. So, with that introduction, wanting to kind of get dispel some of the rumors and get some things out there, does anybody have any questions about this story of Cadillac Karen? You can put them in the chat if you have any questions about it. Come on now, somebody has to have some kind of question about the whole thing. Yeah, Joseph, you know what? I drive truck a little bit too, and or at least have in the past. And yeah, it's kind of the same deal. You'll often get people behind you who just can't handle it. Um, so yeah, welcome to the welcome to the hated club. Yeah, it kind of was a really eye-opening experience for me that so many people would, first of all, be so bothered by something that they felt they had to comment, and second of all, that they would comment in a lot of cases in very since we're talking about hate, just in very hateful ways. And I just don't get that. Like, if I see something that bothers me, the last thing that would ever cross my mind is that I'm gonna make a nasty comment about it. Now, if I see something I like, I might make a positive comment, but the idea of getting upset and taking the time out of my very busy day to write some stupid comment about something I don't like, I just don't get that at all. So the the salty rant. Now there is a great handle for what we're talking about today. So The salty rant, you see, I am sometimes prone to having salty rants, and I try to catch myself and not do it, not go too deep into it. But the salty rant wants to know what happened with the Karen driver. So yeah, I think that's what that and is it real or not is what everybody really wants to know. So I promised that I would tell the truth, and yeah, yeah, I understand it. Um, oh, hello from Wisconsin. Well, hello, Jack. Nice to see you. I had the wonderful opportunity to play some music shows up in Wisconsin in the fall, and I loved it. Yeah, most of the haters are usually big down people, big town people. I usually piss them off and smile and wave. Yeah, if you're a farmer or if you know any farmers, in this day and age, it is very difficult to make a living on your home farm unless your home farm, um, happens to be big enough. Most farmers rent ground away from the home farm, which means we have to travel public roads to get to that ground. In my case, not only did we rent ground, but our farm is split into thirds by two different public roads. So to just about go anywhere on our farm, we have to run public roads. And yeah, it's funny when these people, when you encounter people out on the road, and you know what's sad about it is probably the vast majority of people are okay. I've gotten tons of positive comments from people saying that when they get behind farm machinery, they just chill out and enjoy the scenery. And that is, you know, that's certainly what I do. And I'll have to say, sometimes I get behind some farm machinery or a truck or something that's pulling a hill and has to go slow. And I myself, will get a little twinge of frustration. But then I realize, I'm only going to be back here for a couple of minutes till I get somewhere to pass or this guy pulls off or whatever. It's the people that go crazy and just cannot stand to be behind you for, more than 30 seconds. They're the ones that really, I don't understand. So, Dr. J.R.R. Kingsley, hello. Howdy from Ohio. Good to see you from Ohio. Um, yeah, so anyway, uh, so without further ado, I'll come clean and I'll tell you the true story of these Cadillac Karen videos. So the story is absolutely 100% true. It happened to me just exactly the way that we show it in these pictures and video clips. But in the interest of full disclosure, the pictures and video clips. Okay, drum roll, please. And here comes the hate. The pictures and video clips are, in fact, from a music video that we made um, for the song. So, what happened is this event actually truly happened to me. It's actually more elaborate than what we show. The woman ended up. It was milking time. I was trying to spread a load of manure, and my mom, my 78-year-old mom, was sitting on a lawn chair in the open doors of the barn, and that side of the barn is right up against that public road. And the lady, after this happened, she actually went to the barn in her Escalade and rolled the window down and chewed my poor mom out for having such a derelict son who would do such a thing. Um, and to this day, so this story actually happened about 3 years ago. To this day, my mother That's one of her favorite stories. She'll still tell this story if you give her a minute. She'll still tell the story of how this crazy wacko woman stopped and chewed her out for her son being a derelict. But anyway, so the story really actually happened. I did not, however, have the wherewithal to take pictures and video when it happened. But because it actually happened to me, um, oh, Jean is on here. Yes, yes, she chewed out my sweet mother. Thanks for coming, brother. Um, anyway, when it actually happened, so this is how it actually happened. I pulled out of the barn with a load of manure. Our barn, if you see those videos, we made the video and took the pictures exactly where this really happened in real life. So you'll see that my barn, and Gene can testify to this, you can see that my barn is right up against the public road. I mean, right against the public road. And so when this happened, I had just pulled out of the barn with a load of manure. The lady got behind me, and she wasn't behind me for even, not even 30 seconds till she started trying to pass. And our road is really narrow. So she chickened out on trying to pass me, which I'm glad she did because it was very dangerous. So then she got behind me and was flipping me off and flashing her lights and blowing her horn. And I was literally only going about 100 feet up the road to maybe 200 feet to where then I was going to turn into the field. So I had absolutely no intention of pulling off. She was only going to be behind me for, a minute, and then I was going to pull off. But she didn't have that much patience. So she kept doing this stuff. And about the third time that I saw that finger, and she got right, and I guess she thought that she was being really cool by tailgating me. And I guess maybe she didn't know what a manure spreader does, but at any rate, she got behind me, tailgating me, flashing those lights, and I could see in the rear view mirror, flipping me off. And like I said many times in these videos, at that point, I kind of lost it, and I'll be damned if that manure spreader accidentally didn't slip into gear. So I just bumped that shifter, that PTO shifter forward, and it kicked on the spreader. And I will say too, in the interest of full disclosure, I only kicked it on for a second, and I just knew that it would just throw a little manure off from the paddles, and it did that. But when it did that, of course, a little bit hit the Escalade and a little bit hit the windshield, which absolutely caused her to back way off. But a big clump of manure fell off of the manure spreader onto the road that she didn't see, and then she ran then she ran over it. So her biggest beef in the real story is not that I hit her Escalade with manure, although I did. Her biggest beef was that she had to run over the manure that was on the road. And between the two, that's why she called the cops. So I just kept going. I could have cared less what this woman was doing. So I just kept going, and I went to the field and spread that load, came down. We were cleaning out our big barn. So the guy that was helping me loaded me up with another load, and I pulled back out onto the road, started up the road. And when I pulled onto the road and started up the road, I'll be damned if a township cop didn't come along and pull me over, just like we show in the video. Um, but there is a caveat to the story. So he got this complaint from this maniac woman who was screaming at the top of her lungs about this farmer who had, thrown manure at her and everything else. So when he got out there, he realized it was me, and I stopped, and he came up to the cab and he talked to me. And he said, she's really pissed off, Jeff. I'm gonna have to do something. And I said, well, that's fine. Do what you need to do. I need to get my barn cleaned out, so I need to get to the field. So let's get on with this. So he said, wait a minute, let me go talk to her and see if I can calm her down. So he went back there, and she insisted that I pay for a car wash for her car. This is literally true. I couldn't make this up. She absolutely insisted to the cop that I pay for a car wash for her Escalade. So the cop came back to the tractor, and he said to me, she wants you to pay for a car wash. And he said, you did make a hell of a mess out here on the road, and she had to drive through it. And I said, Bill, that was the cop's name. I said, Bill, if I had to pay for a car wash for every car that had to drive through manure in front of my barn, I'd go broke paying for car washes. And I said, furthermore, she flipped me off. She flashed her lights at me. She cussed me out. I am in no way, shape, or form going to pay for a car wash for this woman. And he said, come on, man. He said, he said, you need to get to the field. I'm almost at the end of my shift. I need to get home. Just pay for the car wash. And I said, nope, not going to do it. And he kind of really looked at me with a very stern, disappointed look. And he went back to her and he said, well, he's not going to pay for a car wash. He didn't, there's no damage to your vehicle. The manure that came off of the spreader was an accident. There's really no offense here. And she said, if I wasn't going to pay for a car wash, and he wasn't going to give me a ticket, that she was going to go to higher authorities, whatever, da 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 da. So to appease her, he told her that he was going to give me a ticket and that she should just go on her way. And it was actually at that point that she came out around the two of us, turned around, and came back down the road. And that's when she stopped at the barn and yelled at my poor, sweet, darling mother. Um, and he actually, in the interest of full disclosure, he actually did not give me a ticket. He just said, Jeff, you better get this mess cleaned up before somebody else complains. And I said, Billy, as soon as we're done spreading today, I will bring the skid loader out and I will have this road spotless. But there's no sense in doing it now, because every load I pull out of that barn, I'm likely to spill a little shit on the road. So you're just going to have to wait until I'm finished. So he he just shook his head and said okay and left. But I just thought it was funny that he was going to give me a ticket, and he actually didn't give me a ticket. And but in the video, we opened the video with me being pulled over by the cop in the tractor and the manure spreader, and with him giving me a ticket. That then sets the tone for the whole video. So there you have it. The story is 100% true, but the pictures and the video clips are from the upcoming music video, which, by the way, the official premiere for the music video is tomorrow, Thursday. Yeah, let me look at the calendar. Tomorrow, April 4th at 7 o'clock here on YouTube. Jeannie headed back to Sheets to drink a coffee. Yes, maybe. I don't know. But like I said, none of this was ever meant to be in any way, shape, or form disparaging towards the cop. So I'm kind of sad that happened. I'm going to get you guys, if I can do it without screwing everything up. I'm going to try to get you guys the link for the video premiere. So let me just go to another part of the mighty YouTube. And see if I can put that in the chat. So there, that should be the link to the premiere for the video. Let me try to catch up on these comments. Barbara says you should you should never speak to anyone's mother like that. You are absolutely right, Barbara. You should not speak to anyone's mother like that. But my mom is an old farm girl, so she just thought it was funny, and that was that. The other thing that really cracks me up about this whole going viral thing. So in my defense, now that I've told you that the pictures and the video clips are actually from a music video, an upcoming music video. In my defense, thanks for telling us the story. I enjoyed the song. Can't wait for the music video. Thanks, brother. I appreciate that. So in my defense, at the time that I posted the first, what has now become Cadillac Karen video, at the time, I think I had right around 1,400 followers on TikTok. And here on YouTube, I only had like 740 subscribers. And everybody who followed me knew that I was a farmer and knew that I also played music and had put up a couple of other music videos. So I assumed that everybody would realize that it was for a music video. People who follow me know that I have this song called Shit on the Road. And I assumed everybody would know that it was for a music video. Little did I know that the thing would explode. And so the very first video that I put up about this, I called the lady in the Escalade California Karen, because I knew that expression of, a California Karen. And I called her California Karen, and I put that video up. And well, the next day when I went to check TikTok just to see if I got any comments on that video, it had gone to over 500,000 views. And before the end of that day, so it was just over 24 hours, just over 24 hours, it had gone over 1 million views. And I had never experienced anything like that. So then I put up another one, of course. And that's the one that I say, oh, don't get yourself so close. That's the one where she's behind me in the Escalade, behind the tractor, and I end that clip with her getting right behind me, and I say, oh, don't get yourself so close. That one currently has over 13 million views on TikTok, and it has over, I think it's just over 4 million views, or is it 6 million? One of them. Anyway, it has multiple millions of views here on YouTube. And so when I first put them up, I just thought everybody was going to know that it was for a music video. I never intended to invite controversy or to court with haters. But as the videos grew and went on, I would have people saying, that looks staged. How could he have gotten that video? This, that, and the other. And that was all fun. I just thought it was, funny and interesting that people were, taking that much interest in it. But then for some reason, you have people who just have to express to you how much, you're an asshole for having created content that obviously millions of people are loving, but that maybe isn't exactly how you portrayed it. So the first couple of videos, I certainly did not tell anyone they were for a music video. I just thought people would know that. And so people would see that and they would, call me out and they'd be like, you're a total fake jackass and blah blah. I mean, just the most virulent names you can imagine. In fact, when this first started on TikTok, TikTok sent me a message that said I could turn on it said I could turn on some kind of anti-bullying thing that would screen out some of these hateful comments. And I of course laughed at that, and I just thought, no, I want to hear them all. I want to hear what all these maniacs have to say. And about halfway through all this climb to these millions and millions of views, people started calling the girl in the Escalade Cadillac Karen. So I didn't come up with that. I called her California Karen. And then all these people started calling her Cadillac Karen. So, of course, I just went with that. And she has been Cadillac Karen ever since. So when the thing started going viral and I started getting all these hateful messages and a lot of hate also directed towards the cop, like I said, I thought, I got to do something here to let people know that, this is kind of a joke and maybe you shouldn't take things that you see on TikTok so seriously. So I put up the video that starts out. It's called Meet Cadillac Karen, and it starts out from the perspective of inside the Escalade, looking out the windshield at the tractor and the manure spreader. And she's bitching and she's flipping me off for a couple of seconds, and then I hit the lever, and of course, it's such a beautiful thing that the footage that we captured of that manure splatter hitting that windshield. It's just a beautiful, beautiful thing. But at any rate, I put up that video from the perspective of being inside the Escalade. Then that video goes on to show Cadillac Karen getting out of the Cadillac, stepping in a big pile of manure and looking at the camera, in total disgust and frustration, which I thought would say to the world, this isn't real. Obviously, how could you get all this footage? It's not real. And I even put in the captions exactly what I said, that the story is 100% real, but the pictures and the videos are from an upcoming music video. Of course, I learned that very few people actually read the captions and very few people really pay attention to what they're watching. Either they're just really entertained by it, which is my goal, or like I said, it strikes them and it causes them to spew out hatred. So can you believe I got the most hate comments on that video that I was putting out to be my kind of coming out video to say, okay, the jig is up. It's not real. Look at this. How would we have footage from inside the Escalade? The other funny thing, and for everybody who is on this live, you will now have some Jeff Corle shit on the road trivia that you can use on your friends and family in the future. Someone told me that Taylor Swift calls those, what is it, Easter eggs? Somebody put in the chat, is that what she calls them when she drops an Easter egg for her fans to be kind of get an inside joke? So here are two golden nugget Easter eggs for you that, again, to me, I thought, okay, obviously they're going to know that this footage is not from a real event. And that is, in the video clip, shot from the perspective of being inside the Escalade. The camera is looking out through the windshield, and the console of the Escalade, so like where your backup camera image comes up and everything for your radio and stereo. I have an old car. I don't have one of these things in my console, so I don't know what the hell comes up on that screen. But I do know that when you're playing music, it tells you on that screen what music you're playing. And there were three people in the Escalade. The wonderful, wonderful gal who played Cadillac Karen. She was driving the Escalade. Wonderful gal of Puerto Rican descent who was also a Marine drill sergeant. We did not have to give her hardly any direction whatsoever. She just completely ad-libbed the whole thing. But anyway, she was driving. My good friend Amy was in the back seat with her daughter Emma, and Emma was the one shooting the video footage from inside the Escalade. And to get them all in the mood to do it, because we had shot some other scenes that way before we did the manure splatter, to get them all in the mood to do it, they were actually playing my CD, and they just kept playing Shit on the Road on repeat. And so here's Easter egg number one. If you look carefully at that scene, you will see on the console of the Escalade, Jeff Corle, Shit on the Road from the album Farm Animal. It's right there, people. Then the other Easter egg, and I cannot believe that people didn't see this, but at any rate, to get the shot of the manure hitting the Escalade from the outside, we strapped the cameraman to the roof of my tractor. So we have this wonderful guy who's helped me on some other videos, Mark Lucas. He's a fabulous videographer and photographer. And we, of course, we didn't have the correct OSHA approved gear for doing this, but we took a ratchet strap. We laid him on the roof of the tractor and took a ratchet strap and ratchet strapped his butt down to the roof of the tractor. And in that shot, I left it. You can edit it to where you don't see him, but I thought, no, I'm going to let people in on it. And in that shot, you can see Mark strapped to the roof of the tractor with the camera. So in the angle that Emma is filming from inside the Escalade out, you see the cameraman on top of the tractor. Yet I get all this hate of people writing and saying, I think this is fake because how could he have footage from inside the Escalade? How could he have that? This guy's an asshole. How could he have footage from inside the Escalade? And you know what? Every single person that wrote that, I either wrote them back and said, it's because when they did the police report, that was part of the evidence that the girl's daughter was shooting, happened to be shooting film from inside. Or I said that it was a backseat dash cam that caught the whole thing. And I don't know. I'll bet you I literally got 1,000 comments. This guy's an asshole. How could he have footage from inside the Escalade? Then the other one that I came to deliver this awesome comment would be people saying, how is it that he just happened to have a cameraman there when Cadillac Karen got out of the Escalade and stepped in the manure? And I would answer those people by saying, that's a funny coincidence. We happen to have a camera crew there filming how we prepare our fields in the springtime to plant. And that camera crew was there when this episode happened. And they just happened to be in the right place at the right time and filmed Cadillac Karen getting out of the Escalade. And do you know I had people believe that and write me back and say, Well, I don't know if that's true or not. I guess that could happen, but so, so you can blame me too for just throwing gas on the fire and keeping the whole thing going. But it is certainly, if nothing else, been an eye opening and learning experience for me. And it has certainly been an incredible experience. When you have that level of virality, you cannot believe the things that happen. Like I said, all these comments, but then all the comments to the good. You know, if I have however many negative comments, I have 100 times more positive comments. People telling me that they love this story. They don't care if it's real or not. They're just laughing their asses off. I think people wore their keyboards out with what is it? LMAO. Yeah, I should go through and have a computer program count how many LMAOs I got. Uh, and especially farmers really enjoying the story, because at the end of the day, if nothing else, it's a farmer's story. It is a true farmer's story about things that happen to us dang near every day that we're out there running the roads with our equipment. And it just is a humorous way of saying, yeah, what did somebody say earlier? Shit happens. Yeah, absolutely. Um, so, at the end of the day, my goal was just to entertain folks and tell a farmer's story. So, the good that has come out of it is all the tons and tons of those comments. I saved a bunch of comments, so I had a bunch of people say, uh, "You're my hero." Um, I had a bunch of people say, I had never heard this one, but I guess it's a popular thing to say. Some heroes don't wear capes, and then they altered that to say, "Some heroes don't wear capes; they have manure spreaders." So I love that. Um, and then my joke has been, so I think at this point in time, the content has received somewhere north of 45 million views, mostly between TikTok and YouTube. We're at about 11 million here on YouTube, about 35 million on TikTok. And I had to slow down there for a second because I'm hearing myself saying that, going, geez Louise. I mean, I can't even get my head around it. But at any rate, all those views and all those comments. So I started to say my joke is 45 million views, something like 2.4 million likes and comments, and three, ladies and gentlemen, three legit marriage proposals. I am serious. I am serious. I'm laughing, but I have had three legit marriage proposals over this. So, unfortunately, I have to inform these ladies that, like I said, I am a very dedicated and committed bachelor farmer. However, you're welcome to try to change my mind on that. Oh my goodness. So a couple of people just got on. So I'll reiterate, the big news is that the Cadillac Karen story is 100% true. But it happened exactly as we show it. But the pictures and the video clips that I've been putting up are from an upcoming music video for my song "Shit on the Road." So I started to say that part of it. So what happened that day in the actual story was, after she called the cops and the cop came and we had our conversation, and she chewed out my mother and then went on her way. After she left and the cop left, I took off for the field to spread that load of manure. And it so happened that that load of manure I was taking to one of our away farms, some ground that we rented that was about 2 miles down the road from my barn. And as I drove down the road reflecting on this whole bizarre thing that had just happened, the chorus to Shit on the Road just came to me. I was thinking, I don't know why people get so bent out of shape because a farmer spills a little shit on the road. You're out here in the country. You would have a legitimate complaint if I came to your town and went downtown on Main Street and spilled shit on the road. But you're out in the country amongst all these farms and farmers. Maybe you should expect to see a little shit on the road. So anyway, as I went down the road thinking about that, the words to that song started coming to me, and I was cracking. The more that I was thinking of the words, the more I was cracking myself up. Drove the 2 miles down to that farm, spread that load of manure, all the while thinking about this new song I was writing. Came back and parked the spreader because we were done for the day. And I sat in the tractor for a minute just to make sure I had everything that I was thinking. And I actually recorded into my phone. I have that recording. Someday I'll put it out if anybody's interested. The very rudimentary first birth of Shit on the Road. And it was shit on the road, shit on the road. Can't keep spilling shit on the road. The neighbors all bitch and the township crows every time I spill a little shit on the road. So thanks to the gal in the Escalade, I got what will hopefully be a #1 absolute smash viral hit, Shit on the Road. Oh my goodness. So guys, the chat has kind of fallen off. I think I talked to everybody who's been on here. If anybody wants to add anything or say anything, put it on here and I'll give it a couple of more minutes. Those of you who know me personally know that I can sit and talk for hours on end. So I have no problem talking, but if everything is, oh goodness, Mark, you just tuned in. Welcome. Oh, by the way, guys, we are going to do a live tomorrow evening for the premiere of the official music video for Shit on the Road. It will be at 7 o'clock tomorrow evening, which is April 4th. And we'll have some of the folks involved with making the video on that live. And one of those people will be Mark Lucas. So, Mark, just a couple of minutes ago, I was telling people how I had received all this hate for putting out these videos that were potentially misleading, and people questioning me on whether the story was true or not. And as I have said many times over, the story is 100% true, but the pictures and videos that I've been posting, video clips, are from the upcoming music video. But I wish it had been on. So a couple of other people just got on too. So I'll retell this briefly for you, Mark. And that is, I was getting tons and tons and tons of great comments. People loving the story, loving the clips. Tons and tons and tons of farmers writing in and telling me, they would do the same thing or they've done the same thing, and so all that was great. But in amongst those were a bunch of hateful comments of people who just got truly bothered by the idea that maybe these video clips were staged. And they felt that they had to write me and call me the worst names you can possibly imagine for having the audacity to put these video clips up there. And I said, I can't understand for the life of me um, why anybody would take the time to make comments, on something that is completely inconsequential. But at any rate, um, one of in the sequence of videos that started to go viral, when I started to see all these negative comments, and particularly I got a lot of negative comments about the video that shows the cop pulling me over, a lot of negative comments directed towards the cop. And I didn't want that. In the true story, when she called the cop, I mean, he had to respond to the call, and he was completely in his right to give me a ticket after what I did. So I have absolutely no animosity towards the cop whatsoever. So I thought, this has gone far enough. I need to let people know that although the story is real, these images are not real. So I thought, rather than just coming out and saying that, I was looking at the footage. And by the way, for those of you who are on the call, Mark Lucas, who just joined us, is our wonderful videographer. We've worked together on a couple of projects, and he he goes above and beyond the call to get us the shots that we want for these videos. So when I was looking through video footage of what I could post, and how I could kind of clue people in that maybe this wasn't exactly um, real footage, I found, Mark, the unedited clip that is shot from inside the Escalade when Karen flips me off and the manure hits the windshield. And I was telling people it's such a beautiful thing. And by the way, folks, we only had one chance to do this because we had borrowed the Escalade. And my friend who I borrowed the Escalade from didn't know he knew we were going to use it in the music video, but he didn't know what we were doing with it. And he couldn't be there. So he had gone, but he was going to show up at like 4 o'clock to pick the Escalade up or whatever. We got late. We realized we better get this done before Bill shows up and, puts the ixnay to us spraying his nice white new Escalade with manure. So, and we didn't want to have to clean up the Escalade again. You had one chance to do this. Can you imagine if you'd have tried to do it a couple of times, you'd have had to wash the Escalade every time. So anyway, we had one chance to do this. So what we did to get the shot from inside the Escalade is one of my friend's daughters was in there with a camera in the back seat to shoot the scene from inside looking out. And the lovely and wonderful Mark Lucas was strapped to the roof of the tractor to get the perfect shot of what we call the shit hit, the perfect shot of the shit hit from outside the tractor. So we threw Mark up there on the roof of the tractor, and I think we strapped him down with a ratchet strap. Anyway, all that is to say, my way of letting people know that, cluing people in that this wasn't real. When I found that unedited footage, I discovered that you could see Mark on the roof of the tractor. In the music video, Mark edited that out, so you don't see him. But in this unedited footage, there you could see Mark on the roof of the tractor. So what I told people just a little while ago, there are two, I'm like, yeah, we did nail it. One take, we nailed it, baby. At any rate, just like Taylor Swift, ladies and gentlemen, I drop Easter eggs for my fans to pick up on. So those of you who were good enough to come on this live, you have two Easter eggs that you can take away from this. Number one, in that footage shot from inside the Escalade, not only do you see Mark on top of the tractor, but in the opening part of that, where Karen is flipping me off, just before the manure hits the windshield, you see on the console of the Escalade Jeff Corle, Shit on the Road, from the album Farm Animal, because there were three girls in that Escalade just having a blast, and they were playing Shit on the Road from my CD. They were playing Shit on the Road on repeat the whole time that we were shooting the other scenes with the Escalade and doing the other stuff. So, piece of trivia, Easter egg number one is, if you look carefully at that scene, you see Jeff Corle, Shit on the Road, on the console of the Escalade. And number two, as the camera looks out the windshield of the Escalade, there you will see Mark Lucas strapped to the roof of the tractor. And what I said a little while ago, Mark, is that is the video that I got the most hate on, because people would write, and that video, it's over 1 million views now. I mean, it's crazy. So people would write in saying, this has to be fake. How could he get footage from inside the Escalade? This guy's an asshole, blah, 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 blah. And I would write those people back and I would say, no, I'm not an asshole. This is legit. This is film footage from the police report. She had a backseat, and you may have never heard of this, but she had a backseat dash camera that picked up that footage. And it was made available to me through the police proceedings. The other story I would tell them is that her daughter was in the back seat filming this tractor going so slow, and that's how they got the footage. But the video that I intended to be the reveal, that everyone is going to understand now that this is for a music video, that is the one that I got the most hate on. And the other funny part of that, Mark, is that I also get hate in that little snippet that I put together for TikTok and YouTube Shorts. In that little snippet, I let it go through where Karen gets out of the Cadillac, steps in the manure, and looks at the camera, with that perfect, just disgusted, frustrated look. And so I'll have haters writing in, how is it that you just happened to catch that film, catch her on film, and da 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 da. And I would write to those people and I would say, well, it's a strange coincidence. We had a camera crew there who was filming how we prepare our fields in the springtime, how we spread manure on the fields to grow our crops. And, they just happened to be in the right time at the right place at the right time when this happened. And, they caught this crazy woman getting out of her Escalade, screaming and hollering at me and flipping me off. And then I have all these people writing, oh my God, really? That's unbelievable. And like I said, I would never have this go and go and go and go, fooling people with it. It was purely intended to have some fun. It was purely intended primarily for my existing followers, who I knew would know that I do music and would assume that it has something to do with a music video or something. Never in 1,000,001 years, no, never in 1,000,002 years would I have believed that this thing would take off like it did and get this many views. I don't know, Mark, if you've been following, but the clips together are over 35 million views on TikTok, and they're over 10 million views here on YouTube. So crazy, crazy, crazy. That's all I have to say. All right, folks. Well, as I said, chat is dwindling down, and I think I corresponded with everybody who's on the chat. So if anybody has any comments or questions, I'll gladly stay on here a couple of more minutes, and then we'll wrap things up. But yeah, just absolute insanity around these clips. And my true sincerest hope is that it spills over into the full-length music video, because like I said, my motivation for doing this is, number one, to entertain people, but number two, to tell a real farmer's story. I mean, this kind of thing happens to farmers every day of the week. Every day that we take that tractor out onto the road, there's a chance that we're going to have an encounter. Well, not a chance, it's almost certain that we're going to have an encounter with a car that gets behind us, or whatever. So this is an opportunity to entertain folks and tell a farmer story, and that was my goal. So hopefully everybody on the call, I put the link in the chat to the premiere, and the premiere for the official music video for Shit on the Road will be tomorrow evening. So Thursday evening at 7 o'clock. We'll have Mark on the call, and I'm going to try to get the gal who played Cadillac Karen on the call, but she is actually she's actually a very busy mom, so I don't know if we'll get her on the call or not. Mark says, I actually wasn't strapped down. I was hanging onto the front of the tractor roof by my toes. You're lucky I'm a physical specimen. That we are, Mark. That we are. And now that you mentioned that, I remember that we debated about strapping you down with a ratchet strap, and you said no. You think you can hang on. Just don't hit the throttle too hard and throw me off. That's funny. That's funny. Hopefully, I'll have it set up tomorrow to where I'll have multiple people on screen with me. So hopefully Mark will be on screen with me, and a couple of other folks. So we'll see. No OSHA here. No, don't tell anybody. We're not in the movie makers union either. So we also got some great footage. We also got some great footage where we took the manure spreader out into the field, and they just let me spread till my little heart was content. And we had Mark on the roof of the tractor for that, and he got some really cool footage, some slow-mo stuff and stuff. And I made some comments on the video that shot from the outside that shows the manure hitting the Escalade. We had cleaned the manure spreader. I don't know if any of you are farmers, you know that the beater paddles on the manure spreader will get all clogged up with dry manure, and oftentimes binder twine or baler twine. And my manure spreader was no exception. So it was all loaded up with all this junk. And we cleaned it off, and cleaned it all up and tuned it up and got it into shape. And I have now watched that shit hit probably 30,000 times. And every time I say, my God, what a beautiful spread pattern. The way that just came out, hung in the air, and hit the windshield of that Escalade was just an absolute beautiful thing. Oh my goodness. Yeah, so Mark says I'd still be in jail if OSHA had shown up. Yeah, tell me about it. Tell me about it. Well, okay, guys, we are at just over an hour, and I had promised to hold this to an hour. So if you have any more comments you'd like to make, please drop them quickly, because I'm going to wrap things up here. But click on that link that I put in the chat. that will get you signed up to get notifications for the premiere. And please tune in to the premiere. Like I said, we'll be doing a live chat after the premiere. So I have to write down a note here so I don't forget. Uh, 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 uh. What is that thing called? Oh. Okay, guys, I think that's going to do it. So be there tomorrow, April 4th, to tune in for the live video premiere of the official music video for the song Shit on the Road. You will see Mark Lucas's wonderful video work in all of its glory. All right, folks, I'm going to wrap this thing up. Thanks for being here. Hope to see you tomorrow night. Farmer out.